always on the grind, homie, never clocking out. I hear the haters talking, and I just block them out. You in the presence of a legend, better watch them out. They try to bring us down, they say the king is down. They dance around the corpse, they throw me in the fire. I'm rising from the ashes, it's David V. Goliath. I'm gonna win, of course, I'm singing in the storm. Put it on the line, I'ma risk it all. My feet are on fire, and my fists are gold. All that's on my mind is where I wish to go. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. For something that was worth it, didn't know that the journey would just bring us back home. Bottle up Patron, here's the hip-hop. Didn't have a lot, now there's Gucci on the flip-flop. Sailing till the ship stops. On El Dorado, we be riding, forget us.
Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. I'm your host, Steven Walker, and I would like to introduce the main man, the myth, the legend, Steven Chat. What it do, big dog?
My man. How are you today?
You know, it's been a day. It's been a day, Steve. If I could sum up my day in an image, it would be my head on a stick, just the head on a stick, being carried around by Florida fans. Okay?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's been brutal. We'll say hey to the chat real quick. We haven't done that in a while, and I want to say hey. We got Ricky, Nick Myers. What's going on? Gator versus anybody. IB Matt. Let's go. You're right. Muscles Mascara. How it do? How are you? Hey. Duddles. I hope this 5-star isn't Walker Howard. It is not, sir. Dominic Tudor. What's up, baby? Cody Bulldog, my man. How are you doing, Bubba? Colin, Ed Racing. Gator versus anybody. Chris Soley, hey? Piss missiles, hey? JR.
Sorry.
Yeah, buddy. Anthony and Tristan and Felipe, Caro, Johnny, what it do? Mama, how are you guys? Welcome to the stream. Well,
Johnny, what's up, baby?
It's been rough for your boy. Florida fans, and they're probably on strike tonight. They may not come out due to a video that I posted today or yesterday. I can't remember when I posted it anymore. It's been a long 24 hours for me about Jaden Rashada and him being robbed of $13 million. It did not go over well. It was not received as I expected it to be received when creating the video and when writing the title. They let me have it. This was the first time that I have been on the wrong side of Gator Nation, and my goodness, boys, it was fun. I've seen some shady comments, and I've seen some slaps, but everybody was coming out to get your boy today. Look, I get it. It's going to happen. I'm bound to piss off a few every now and then. This one was probably, I felt like on 3 today. Just the laughing stock. It was fun to be a part of. Fun to be a part of. You live and you learn. Look, I stick by what I posted still. So I'm not going to shy away from that because I think what I posted was still correct and accurate. And we're going to get into that later on. But my goodness, it was a fun one. It was a fun one to say the least. But we're here. We're moving on. We keep moving. We take it on the chin, and like your mom, and we just next. I'm not apologizing. I would like to take this moment to apologize to absolutely nobody. I'm just saying it was fun to be ran. That wasn't fun. It was a little exhausting at some point. But look, it was interesting to get people's thoughts and opinions about it. I kind of addressed some of it, but most of it was like it is what it is. They're going to come after you however they want to. People are frustrated on the Jaden Rashada. Let's go ahead and let's just dive right into it because I want to get past it. It's done and over with. This is the last chapter of the book, and then we're going to close that chapter. Does that sound good, Steve? Can we move past it?
I love it. I think we talked about that today, and I think this might be until maybe he commits or maybe he's the proud.
I think news. So I spoke with Jen from the collective, and I said, "Hey, can you clarify something? Can you tell me if it was really $13 million?" And she's like, I can't speak about any of that stuff. And I was like, legally, I get it. It makes sense. But she's like, look, she's like, eventually the truth will come out, she believes. So I think that it will too. And if that happens, then we'll probably readdress the situation. But let's go ahead and let's talk about it one last time. Let's get over it. Obviously,
put a feather in that cap. Let's get it past us.
Yeah, everyone has had their opinion about this entire situation. you've got two battles here. You've got the Florida side, and this is why I think people got offended with my title, because they felt that it was anti-Florida, which I didn't feel that way at all, nor do I believe that it was. It's what's being stated across multiple platforms, ESPN, Fox News, CNN. Every big platform, right, is phrasing it this way, that we, the Florida Gators, a.k.a. the collective, promised to pay Rashada $13 million over 4 years. That was the contract that was written up. Sometime in December, the collective reneged on that deal, was what was stated in the article. And then that's been the kind of the battle ever since, and nobody's followed through with it. And here we are, right? Now we've got no more Jaden Rashada. If you go look at Gator news and closer to Gators, a lot of them are saying, I don't feel that it was $13 million. I think that's false, et cetera, et cetera. And that may be true. Unfortunately, the bigger picture, all the big industries are spreading one narrative. And now that perception of whatever it may be will soon become a reality, because you've got everybody talking about it and spreading the same exact story, whether it's true or not, whether it's 1.3 and they got rid of the point because it makes the story that more appealing to get more clicks. Unfortunately, that's where we've landed ourselves. And then obviously the video of Chris Dorian went viral, of him saying, I'm glad he didn't take the $13 million. I'm glad that we're not paying him, right, etc., because Tebow deserved $13 million. The guys that earned it, right? And I completely agree with his statement. I completely agree with what Chris Dorian's saying. Here's the issue. That's not the world we live in anymore. Unfortunately, and this is why we were all concerned about, we live in a world now where this is what it appears to be, is that you're having to be paid to play. I'm not saying that I agree with paying Jaden Rashada, so pump the brakes, okay? I'm just saying that his statement doesn't necessarily apply to this situation, simply because he's not going to be the first player that's going to happen to, nor is he going to be the last. And it would be interesting to see if he ends up getting the $13 million anyways. Look, I agree. I wouldn't want to pay this kid $13 million either. Why would you pay an unproven kid $13 million? Doesn't make any sense. And I've been saying this from the very beginning, and I will continue to say it until we're proven otherwise. We won't know until next year sometime, that the class that Billy has brought in has been quality over quantity, and guys that want to play for the orange and blue, and that are bought into the Billy way, and that are bought into the Billy process. With that, you lose out on the flashiness. You lose out on a top 5 class because we're not willing to break our standards or bend to get to that, which I'm okay with. And I think we have to realize, like, if we're going to get pissed off, or if we're going to say, yeah, we don't want to pay him anyways, we don't expect a top 5 class in the world that we live in right now. That's fact. I don't think we get into a top 5 class if we're not willing to part ways. Not saying Jaden Rashada was going to be the answer to that either, but I'm just spitballing here, okay? But I do believe that building the process the right way, which is what I believe Billy is doing, will pay off in the long run. Keyword there is long run. It's going to take some time to build this culture and build it up. So that's kind of where I stand on it. I preached it in the video. A lot of people got more worked up about the title than actually watching the video, which, look, it's the world we live in, so I get it. It's kind of quick and easy to the point. But, yeah, what do you got, Steve?
Look, it's an odd situation, and we talked about it last week, just a little bit on this. Might be the first time we've seen the potential of the NIL rear its ugly head, and I think this is going to be about as bad as it can get, right? You now have a kid who is out there saying he committed to a school. Okay, so he was committed to Miami. He last minute flip. There had to have been something that made him flip, right? And then now you have a kid who is all the way up to early enrollment. Things fall apart on the contract, because that's essentially what it is. And you don't know who the bad guy is here, right? Is it Jalen Rashada for being greedy, or did he just see an offer on signing day that was so much better than what he was going to get at Miami that said, how do I not take it? What do you do for Florida? For Florida, you're thinking, like, maybe in the grand scheme of this whole thing, $13 million is way too much, even if that is the real number. Maybe that number was amateurized over, the course of, his playing career in Gainesville. Either way, it's just, there's no winner in this, right? Now you have Jalen Rashada, who could have enrolled early if he stayed at Miami, or even if he had gone to another school and just said, okay, I'm just going to take this. So now he misses spring training because he can't get into class in time. And now Florida is just getting drug through the mud. And it sucks when you're drugged through the mud by other like recruiting sites and college football sites, right? Things that just focus on you, right? It hurts. It sucks. You never want to see, your team in that.
I think
gets bigger. It gets bigger. And now you're just like, gosh, this whole thing has gotten out of control. And that's what the NIL was never supposed to be. Like the whole
But
thing
this is what everyone said it was
control.
going to be. Everyone
because we're smarter than they are. Let's be honest.
So the other part too that I think we're forgetting is that we keep saying that Rashada, this is what I keep seeing too, the narrative. Rashada's greedy. He doesn't deserve to play here, whatever it may be. Here's the part that I'm going to defend really quickly here, and I'm probably going to get roasted for it, but it is what it is. We offered it. And you had your analogy on the precast of like shooting the text. We sent the $13 million contract. Whether he asked for it or not, we originally agreed on it. So there has to be some accountability there to Florida of like, whether the number is 13 million, 1.3 million, 130,000, whatever that number is, we agreed upon a number. That, in my thought, if I'm going to hold somebody accountable, look, that's on Florida. You put your hand in that basket and said, yeah, I'm willing to do that, and then something fell through, not quite sure what, and you decided to pull out of it. Now and they have every right to pull out of it, but you also have to handle, right, the consequences. So sort of saying, who offered it? I mean, look, Rashada may have asked for it, but that doesn't matter. With Florida, they still extended it. They said, okay, here, yeah, we agree. They wrote the contract up. Things were signed. At the end of the day,
they were close enough on terms to where we agreed.
Yeah, that falls on Florida. I don't care who you are. Like, I'm a fan of Florida, but that is on Florida. However you want to look at it, they agreed upon it. Now, it looks like there was a third party, especially I made the video about it with the collective, how they kind of phrased their tweet of like, they handle third-party contracts. So Steve and I put our heads together at the beginning of the show, which is a scary thing to think about. But how we broke it down was it seems like somebody came in, knocked on the collective door, and said, hey, I want Rashada. I'm thinking it's Hugh Hathcock, and I'll get to that in a minute, and said, hey, I want to pay this kid. How do I make this work? Collective said, we'll figure it out. Let's draw it up. Boom, 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 boom. So the collective is now the middleman between the situation. Something happened. That third party goes, nah, I don't want to do that no more, and pulled out, leaving the collective basically with their dick in their hand. And well, now what? We ain't got 13. We didn't promise you. We just had this person said they were going to give it to us, and now all of a sudden they're gone, which is a whole nother situation here that's going on with the situation. So my thing about Hugh Hathcock, why I say it's him, because he only tweeted one time in regards to recruitment, and it was right before Rashada committed, and I haven't heard from the man since. So it seemed very ironic that he went out there and landed that, and then now nothing's going on. So I don't know. Look, I think you guys are saying here like that Florida should speak out, etc. I agree. Who says, have you had inside source? Serious question. I have spoke with people that are connected. What I heard originally, the original story, and I'm not going to go over it because it has not came up at all. The original story that I heard has not been discussed on bigger level platforms. Not saying that it isn't true, because it could be. But what was the original story that I heard? I have not heard it anymore. Not once. I spoke with Jen today. I asked her. She's like, legally, they're not allowed to say anything. I think that's where people were kind of confused on, too. And I realized it kind of dawned on me. It's like, well, why doesn't Florida, the collective, say anything? Legally, they're probably binded to discuss anything about the contract. They can't come and say, well, no, it wasn't $13 million, because now they're speaking about the contract. They put themselves in jeopardy. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. It's a business deal now. And it's sloppy business. That's a fact. And again, this is an anti-Gator. This is me being frustrated with the situation, speaking upon it to hopefully bring some light and help us as Gator fans figure out what the hell is going on. Because I've watched many of podcasts, I've read plenty of articles trying to understand what the hell that is that's going on. Ain't nobody got a damn clue. Ain't nobody got a damn clue. And I think what the truth really is either really that bad or whatever it may be, that nobody wants to talk about it. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
I think it's probably in the middle. To be completely honest with you, I think that there is a little bit too much aggression on the Florida side. And I do want to point out that a recruit the level of Rashada, especially when the NIL is now big money, these kids have somebody around them who is handling their these requests from schools, these contracts, and potentially the amount of money they can make here, the amount of money they can make there. Like some of them, if the money is high enough, some of these guys will even have attorneys that will step in and start making sure that negotiations are correct on both sides. Right. For a long time ago, before the NIL, it was your quarterback's. If you were a quarterback, it was your quarterback's coach or your head coach, or somebody in your family that you trusted. They would always be the kind of the go-between, because these are, let's not forget, kids. In this situation, who in the world is the go-between from college football to Jalen Rashada, that thought that a $13 million offer, which, let me just put this out there, is twice as much as Nico in Tennessee, twice as much. And nobody said, we might need to look into how that's going to come down. We might need to look into that. Something's not right. And I'm not pointing the finger at Florida.
So I think people might overlook that, Steve, but that's a solid point. Like what you're stating there is like, look, if as the handler, you should have the knowledge of like, look, my kid's not worth $13 million. That's what you're saying, because this kid who's ranked now number one, according to On3, is allegedly being paid $8 million, and now you're allegedly being paid $13 million. Something doesn't add up here. Why would you pay a kid $13 million that isn't even on the top 10 quarterback board right now? Like if I'm his representative, you have to ask those questions, because what ends up happening is what we see happening here now. That's a great point. I love that, Steve. And here's where, again, I see you guys in the comments saying, like, the Gator Collective has got a lot of work to do. And that's why I was kind of talking to Jen today. And, like, here's why I'm kind of frustrated, as a personal person that owns a business, because you guys know how I am. I'm rambunctious. I'm wild. I'm pretty outgoing, and I like to be open. And the reason why I enjoy creating this content is because I can do what I want and say what I want and how I feel. And there's times when I made relationships with certain people, and I've questioned, like, hey, should I do this? And worried that that the partnership would not appreciate how I was handling myself or carrying myself. Not because I said that, just because in your whole life you're told to, hey, you got to act a certain way because brands won't want to work with you if you do a certain thing. And we talked about it before, like, hey, if somebody comes to you and say, hey, they'll offer to buy out High Top, would you do it? Like, fuck no. Because it's not High Top anymore. I want to do me. And Pat McAfee said that. They kept asking Pat's like, oh, are you guys going to sign on with somebody? He goes, probably not, because they won't allow me to continue. The reason we're here is because we do what we want. If I go work for you, which is doing what you want to do, it's great. It works for you, but it's not going to work for me. Then I'm going to be back in prison. I don't want that mentality. With the collective, right? I was always, again, this was never said with the collective. I've always had nothing but respect for the collective, but I've always held back on certain things or how I acted, because I was like, look, to an extent, I represent them because we work with them. But what's crazy is, like, a company like that, it's like, look, now we have a negative impact on us, right? Because, like, it looked like we work with them. It's like, right now, you guys got a lot of flack. Nobody ever thinks about it the other way around. It's kind of what I'm getting at. It's kind of interesting. It's like, I was always concerned with how I carried myself, right, and represented them. And it's like, well, damn, y'all burning my ass over here. What's up, bro? You know what I mean?
We're trying to do our thing, too.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, easy. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm done talking. But here's where we're going. Let's get into the positive thing. So, This is starting to make a little bit of, starting to get some traction here, which it seems a bit of a stretch. But the whole Lagway thing on reclassifying to 2023, long story short, is it possible? It's always possible. This kid can take a bunch of classes, come in for the summer, redshirt his freshman year. It sounds really, really good. It sounds incredible, right? Here's what it also sounds like. It sounds like Florida being selfish, because we fucked up a recruiting cycle. And we dropped the ball on not being more active in the portal, but because we thought we had something that we didn't. So now we want to force a kid to rush his progress because of it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not a huge fan of it. It sounds great. I love it. I would love it as a fan. But if I'm DJ Lagway's dad, and if I'm DJ Lagway, like, look, do I really need to make that much of a rush? Should I get Like I'll get to go redshirt. I'll get to go play underneath 3 quarterbacks at Florida, but you're not going to get any playing time. You're going to redshirt. Or do I go play for a high school that's pretty damn good, get actual reps in, and go work on these stats and work on my NIL evaluation? Now, there is one part to this. I don't think DJ Lagway is about the money. I really don't. However, it's still a business. I think he's a smart business kid, man, and he can't collect anything in Texas right now. So he could do what Quinn Ewers did at Texas and come hang out at Florida for his freshman year and sell some merch and create content and that way. But I don't think that's his end goal. So is there really that much of a benefit for him to leave that early? I don't think so. And so Johnny makes a good point. Ewers did it and it looks good. So there's two sides. I think it could work. I mean, I just think that he's in a good position at Willis, Texas. Personally, I would love it. I really would. But I think that for me, the reason why I think I'm being hesitant, because it feels like the noise is now starting to come up for selfish reasons, and not in a negative sense, but it's just like we as fans were like, we need something, we need help, and it's like, all right, DJ, like hurry your shit up.
which I feel puts Billy in a position where, all right, so you got Graham Mertz, you've got Miller.
We have 3 scholarship quarterbacks. 3 scholarship quarterbacks: right. Mertz, Miller, and Max Brown, who's not even going to be playing spring ball because he's playing. I'm pretty sure he's playing in baseball. So basically, Mertz and Miller, and then he wants a preferred walk-on. So I've been stretching out. I've been loosening it up.
So I mean, look, that's a tough one. It does feel weird to try to push a kid through high school as fast as possible to get him into. But I understand, like, get him into your nutrition program, your weight training program. That's just it just feels like you're doing something aggressive and obtuse and just awkward in order to fill a gap where you failed internally.
Look, if DJ comes out,
I don't know if I would want that.
Sorry, if DJ comes out and says he wants to, I mean, I'm all in for it. But it feels like we, the fans, and you know the guys that are covering it, we're creating the narrative. That's the part I don't like. If he's like, hey, like if he reaches out to Billy, it's like, hey, I see you got a situation here. What's up? Then I'm all in. Like, I love it. I look, personally, selfishly, I love it. I think it's great because I see the benefit. I think there's a ton of benefits that are behind it. But I also see, like, look, if it feels forced, if it feels rushed, then there is some negative that could come with it. I think it's got to be a decision that obviously comes from DJ and his father of like, look, we've done a lot of great things here. Pretty head on school. I can knock this thing out. We can go down there in the summer and get this ball rolling pretty damn quick. Go to Friday Night Lights. Start recruiting early. If we can go and have they wouldn't be there for the orange and blue game, but I'm trying to think of like how could this help for recruiting as well, right? If he goes early, I think that solidifies 2024 recruiting a little bit better because they're like, yeah, this guy's definitely committed. But it just feels like, again, I think you can make the argument of him being at Florida for a year early would help his career, but I can also argue that getting actual reps, even though it's high school, I understand that you get another year with pressure, you get another year of trying to prove yourself versus just going through practice reps. I think there's something there that could be missed if you were to leave early.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's also consider the fact that he is the leader of his high school team, and leadership shows in how that team plays. I don't have any doubt that Lagway is a leader. I don't have any doubt in his physical abilities. But do you not almost want to give him another year to show how he can galvanize a team and lead a team? And there's some intangibles, some things that you don't put on paper that having him in his senior year go through those motions, show you what you're working with, and he walks in. Bringing essentially a glorified junior into your locker room might have some long-term future like goals and some you check some boxes. I just don't know. I mean, this is it's not a statistical thing. It's an off the numbers, the books. Which one's better, the high school development for that senior year and leading a team, or bring a kid into a locker room full of 22-year-olds? Which one is more beneficial for him?
Devil Dog says Lagway was already trying to graduate early before all of this. So look, I mean, if that's the case, then like I said, I'm all in. So I find myself kind of I could play both sides of this very easily. So yeah, let the kid play his senior year. That's kind of where I'm at too, Cody. I think people underestimate. I think this is me taking the sports part out of it. We rush these kids way too damn soon. We make them get jobs way too early. Kids feel like they got to get a job at 16, 15, now 17. My little brothers did it. I told them not to. People probably told me to. I don't think I never really had that advice of not to work. I always felt like I was, was always ready to rock and roll. But you have your whole life to work. And I know we hear it, but we don't understand it. And I think we misunderstand the value of going to high school all 4 years and being around your friends and being around other kids like yourself, going to prom, going to the high school events. There's value in that you can't recreate that. You will never get that back. And as cool as it sounds to go to all this early and be hungry, and I love all that, take an extra 8 months to enjoy your childhood because you're gonna have your whole life to rock and roll. And so that's
when you get to Florida,
and you can still be serious, but enjoy it. And I mean, nobody's gonna listen, but maybe I'll catch one kid's ear and they're like, yeah, he's right. Probably not. That's okay. All right, let's move on. I'm done. We're done with that until obviously he makes some more news, and we'll talk about it again. Let's go to 2024. We got obviously some news there, and then running back. Actually, let's do this really quick. So Aston Martin, the running back from Memphis.
Did you say his name was Aston Martin?
It's Aston Martin, I believe. I think, unless I'm saying it incorrectly. So he was supposed to be. You can't make this shit up. He's crystal ball to Florida. He's crystal ball to Florida to transfer from Memphis, Tennessee. It dropped today. And I was thinking this is going to be great. This is going to be huge for Florida because I was just talking about this the other day of where we didn't get 2 running backs. So there is a hole that we've got to figure out. We've got to fill in. And so this was going to be a great fill for us. But I literally just got a text that doesn't seem to be happening now. So I don't know anymore. I had this whole thing queued up and ready to go. I've completely okay. Anthony says it. Asa's going to Troy.
To where?
Asa. It must be Aston Martin to Troy because he wants to play. So that's what happened. That's literally. I just got the text. So we literally the show started. Everything's fired up. I found out about this a few days ago, and then it hit the crystal ball. So I was like, all right, cool. We can talk about it now. And what the hell, dude? We can't.
It's on the list.
Literally in the middle of the show. I'm like, I'm over here like, shut up. So there we are. NASA Jones says I'm not a UF fan, but I like the channel. I appreciate it, man. Yeah. So I mean, that's all I've got for that. I don't have anything else. I've got nothing else. But hey, guys, real quick before we move on, we got over almost 200 people in the chat. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We are like less than 40 away from 10,000 subs. It's kind of crazy to think about, but less than 40 people from 10,000 subs.
I see some people in the chat. Let's go through the chat here. Dom Tudor, never heard of you. Go ahead and like and subscribe.
All right, let's talk about 2020.
Come on, guys.
Oh, those guys are OGs.
They're OGs, baby. They're in the Discord.
2024. So Cam Pringle, the number 1 offensive tackle, will be committing this Sunday, the 22nd, I believe. So we're going to be suited up for that, and excited because that's going to be a big one. A 5-star offensive tackle, 4-star offensive tackle would be huge for us. He just visited Florida, said he loved that we had 5. I don't know if he was trolling a little bit, if this was true or not, but 5 offensive line coaches. Thought we had 2. Maybe we went made some moves around and added a few more. He goes, Florida's very high on his list. It's them having 5 offensive line coaches. It's crazy. No other school has 5 offensive line coaches. That's a lot. It's basically you got one a player. And look, I think there's something to be said for that. And that's why I don't understand how we can't land more offensive linemen, but we keep losing left and right. Right now, he's projected on all platforms to go to South Carolina. He is close. I'm pretty sure. They say he's from Georgia, but I'm pretty sure Georgia's pretty close to South Carolina. He's pretty damn close to that. So he is from South Carolina, excuse me. So Clemson and South Carolina is what it's between. I'm tired of just being a hat on the table, I got to be honest. Would love for us to land this kid. It would be huge for us to kind of get the ball rolling. Again, I keep preaching on we've got to land these guys, especially with DJ Lagway. I think some offensive tackle talent would be great. So this is going to be a big one for us. Again, I don't feel confident. I'm looking at on On3's site now. I'm looking at the top 10 offensive tackles. We aren't top 15, top 20, top 26. We're not even on the radar for any of these kids and offensive tackles, which scares the living shit out of me. Like, they have, like, who they're between. Like, we're not even on here, on any of them. So, hopefully we get to moving quickly. Now, that's just offensive tackle. That's not interior offensive line. Let me see that. We've got Eddie Pierre-Louis. We were on there on for him. And we're looking like we're a heavy lean. So, that's good to see. But it seems very thin. Oh, and then Jake, from Ponte Vedra, the 3-star. Jake Ganara. So, we look high for him. I think
we talked about him.
Yeah, we talked about him last time. So, but we need some offensive tackles as well too. So the Cam Pringle's a big one with us being on that list. Would love to see that. Now, I did see something when I was actually going through kind of 2024 because I'm excited and ready to go. Is Jarrett Gibson, the number 1 running back in the country, is from Gainesville, and On3 right now has him looking good for us. 247 doesn't have any. Yeah, so I was pretty jazzed up about that one. I got to be honest with you because he's the number 10th player in the country, and 247 has him as cool. They don't really have any crystal ball predictions, but On3 breaks it down by percentages, and they have Florida pretty heavy. So loved seeing that. Was pretty jazzed up because I mean he's been somebody when we talked about when we were just looking at it, who I was excited to possibly land with being a top running back. I feel like we need a big stud. So that was exciting. Now they did move us. So again, it's kind of back and forth because Elijah Rushing, I felt like has been a shoe in another 5-star edge. He's 100% committed on 247 or was, but on 3 he is not. He is. Let me see. They've got him to Arizona or Oregon now. So I don't. Okay. Now again, I'll go back to 247. I'm taking a look at them to see where they have him. They still have him 100% to us. How there is that much of a flip there, I don't know. So I like their thoughts on Jarrett Gibson, and I like 247's thoughts on Elijah Rushing. If you ask the majority of the people, I think people are kind of turned off on 3 right now. So where everyone's a little frustrated with.
Then I hate to say this to you, but for 2024, the early recruiting rankings, they have moved Florida above FSU. Florida is now at 6 with FSU sitting at 7.
I like that. I like hearing that.
All of a sudden, On3, love those guys.
Yeah, those guys. Hey, those guys got it going on, dude. They got this. They've got their shit figured out.
Super analytical.
They've got their shit figured out. And then the last little bit is we had Lesser, the safety, I believe, the number 2 safety in the country. He visited this past weekend, so that's again another big one that Florida needs to figure out to land. So we will see on that. Let me see. He is a 5-star. Is he safety or is he cornerback? No, he's cornerback. Excuse me. Cornerback here. Charles Lester. So right now they've got him projected to Alabama. On3 does. But he's visited a few times. Then it's Florida in second. That's a big one there. I feel like it's another cornerback battle. Obviously, we've got the Jakeem Jackson, who did move up above Kamani McLean this past weekend on On3 rankings, which was pretty fun to see. So love seeing that. So that'd be a good pull for us to be able to pull that. But yeah, we got a lot of work to do for 2024. It starts the 22nd, in my opinion, with Cam Pringle. Going to be having some Pringles on my desk for that day because I don't think I need to say anything more. Papa Stokes, Good evening, High Top. Steve, you're looking good as always. My dude Shelton, love as always. So I don't look good, Papa Stokes?
Love you, buddy.
What the fuck?
No, he knows what's going on. Papa Stokes knows how this is working.
The guy looks 85. Go look at the first podcast till now. The guy's aged like 3 years and like 6 months. All right.
Well, we talked about this. So we went through the math, and I think for the entire 2022 year, we only missed one Wednesday cast.
One Wednesday cast, and it was in February when we went to a wedding, and we both were sick.
A wedding. Yeah. So, look, if there's one thing that we'll tell you, we love you guys, hopefully, as much as you love us, because we're here 365, 51 weeks a year.
Something like that, yeah. This I don't hope. I hope
by the way, Dom Tudor, keep sending the pictures. I saw what you put in there. I gave him a little bit of hell for not being a real fan, but he gave me some shit back.
What picture?
He said, I'm not sending Holly any more fun pictures anymore.
Oh,
because I gave him a hard time. I'm like, who the hell's that guy?
Oh, okay. Do you ever talk Gator baseball? We'll talk Gator baseball when they whip that ass.
Oh God!
Against FSU. I love baseball. Most of our fans do not listen to or watch baseball, but I'm a huge baseball guy. I could definitely, probably put a segment together where we talk about some baseball for sure. Steve doesn't understand baseball, so I can't have that conversation with old Steve.
I'm passionate about it though. Clearly,
yeah. If FSU's on the other side of the dugout, he's definitely gonna scream and yell. So. Yeah. Iron Joner says, "Can we start a petition to bring Stokes back to Florida?" I think even if we got everyone to sign it, I don't think Papa Stokes ain't about that. he ain't about it. Go Braves, baby! All right, Utah during the week. Apparently, Utah could be on Thursday. It looks like Pac-12 has the final say because they hold the TV rights. And so it's still up in the air. It's either they're going to be Thursday or Saturday. Obviously, I don't want it to be on Thursday. I just don't.
That's awkward.
Yeah, I hate it. FSU plays on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like they play on Thursday, Friday nights, Wednesday nights. That's you guys. You guys own those days. And I don't want to take that away from you. I feel like that'd be rude. I feel like that would be disrespectful to FSU and all that they represent.
Not on that weekend, baby. We got LSU. Trust me, we'll be a marquee game.
And I'm worried because if Pac-12 owns the rights, we obviously know who their new baby daddy is in Coach Prime. And so that's going to be their main focus of how can they highlight Coach Prime, how can they highlight USC. Even though the Utah just won the Pac-12 for the second year in a row, they're not their high priority. They're not their selling point. So I don't see this landing on Saturday night, unfortunately, just because of how things have played out in the Pac-12. You got Colorado versus TCU. I don't know who USC plays. They just released it today, so I haven't taken a look at it because who cares? The hype for the Pac-12 has been just uncomfortable over the last few days. Austin, our buddy Austin, he's been talking about it, but it seems like it's like underground talk. Like there's just like he'll come to me like, oh yeah, dude, like, people are hyped up about the Pac-12. Like who? Are you fucking out? Who? Like what are you talking about? Like no, he's like, no, dude, Arizona's coming back. Arizona State's coming up. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, dude, everyone's gonna want to watch the Pac-12. Everyone's gonna watch the Pac-12 next year because of Coach Prime. Ain't nobody tuning in.
They want to watch it implode.
Yeah, ain't nobody tuning in for USC and Arizona. Okay, I promise. Because he's like, well, Arkansas sucks. Arkansas, Bama will get views every day of the week. You're still gonna tune into that football game, okay? But you're not gonna tune in to USC and Arizona State. I'm sorry. People barely turn into USC versus UCLA anymore. Look, the Pac-12 is getting better. Go ahead. They're coming back, okay? But they're not what people want them to be. That's it.
Look, here's the problem that the Pac-12 has. There is a whole lot of space, and the people who are out there just don't care that much. LA does not care about football, especially college football. I know they say they do. I know there's a history and all tradition and all that. I can assure you Stanford doesn't care that much about football. Most of their students think that football is a barbaric sport. They're not going to participate. Oregon's the one spot I'll give them. Washington, I think, does well. Washington State and Pullum, what kind of crowd are they going to attract, for any real game? So now you have Colorado who's out there. You're going to have to be damn careful because if Dion comes out there and he's able to at least get a little swag, I don't know if he can keep up with USC that first year, but they're gone. USC and UCLA are gone. Like that's basically his division. I know there's excitement. It's not real excitement. It's going to fall apart. They're going to have to do their own thing out there. The major marquee teams are walking, and now you have Oregon with all the Phil Knight money that they could possibly get scrambling to be relevant. It is not a good situation out there in the pack. Now, look on the other side of that, the flip side of that, and this is what makes football in the South great, right? And it's not just the SEC. I know the SEC is way better at football than the ACC. I'm not going to deny that, but a game like Arkansas and Alabama, everybody watches it. All of Arkansas watches it.
Even though Arkansas is not Bama, it's you still feel like Arkansas has a chance. Right. Arizona never had a chance against USC. That's why the point favorite is 45 every single year. Now Bama does get wild ass favorites too. But yeah, the Pac-12. Look, the Pac-12 is the Big 12's little brother right now. Now the Pac-12 could be what the Big 12 was this year. A lot of excitement, a lot of close teams, a lot of guys that are winning, and so the guy that comes out on top will think they're the man, and then they'll show up to the show and get absolutely clapped. But the Pac-12 ain't. They haven't arrived yet. They have been gone for a very long time. Honestly, the Pac-12 fans are as delusional as us Florida fans are. We feel like it's still 06. They still feel like it's 2001 or 2003. It's not. You haven't been for a while. Let's go over the schedule. We've done this already, but I think this has now been finalized. So obviously they play TCU. I think
huge game.
So when we went over originally, TCU was obviously rolling, and we're like, yo, like this is gonna be fun. I think Colorado absolutely claps TCU now. Just claps them. Like I have zero faith in TCU. TCU, they're done. I've been saying that. They're done. Nebraska, that game is going to be incredible. That has the potential. That college game day is going to be there. Fact. The absolute fact. Especially if Nebraska wins game 1 and Colorado wins game 1. Oh, son, that is going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. I'm still going to take Colorado here because I just feel like, are you in the same boat? Are we still 2-0, or do you think they take the L there?
Oh, you're taking Colorado over TCU?
Oh, easy. Claps.
All right, I'll ride with you on that. All right, so they're 2-0. Okay. I feel awkward about that TCU game, but I'll go with you. We'll ride this boat together.
Wow, this was not the original schedule that I remember. This is kind of brutal. I don't think this is what we went over originally. Then they play Colorado State. There's 3-0. Then they play Oregon. I'm trying to see where. Okay, that's in Oregon with Bo Nix. I got to be honest. That's an L. Yeah, I can't. Look, I would love for Colorado to get the W here, but I think it's an L. So they're 3-1. USC 3-2. Arizona State 4-2. Stanford 5-2. UCLA 5-3. Oregon State. Oregon State could be a good one. Oregon State's kind of on the up and up, but we'll give it to Oregon State.
Yeah, I'll give them that. Hey, look, they played well against Florida, and they that was an unmatched. That shouldn't have been there. Oregon State was a better football team in the bowl game that they played in this year.
Yep. So that's 5-4. Then Arizona, I'm saying it's 6-4 easily. Washington State could be a tough one. I'm gonna lean. Ty goes to the runner. I'm gonna give it to Colorado 7-4. Then Utah. With a returning Cameron Rising, they're going to be 7-5 in their first year.
Utah wins.
Anything could happen, but a 7-5 first year. Look. I think this is why the Pac-12 is getting excited, because that looks like a tough schedule. That honestly, in my opinion. Wait, is there any out of conference games?
That's only 12 games. They got to play at least.
No, that's all of them. You only played 12, impossible. Steve. Bro, that is... Oh, TCU's out of schedule. Or out of conference.
Yep.
And Colorado State... Is Colorado State in the Pac-12? I can't remember.
No,
they probably just play one out of... They probably just play one out of conference. So look, that schedule is kind of dog.
So TCU is out of conference.
Yeah.
And then
that schedule is kind of daunting. Now that I'm over here roasting them, but bro, honestly, the only easy walk on is Arizona State, Arizona, and Colorado State. The rest of in Stanford, the rest of them some dogs, bro. Oh, LFGM says Colorado will be 1-4 in the first game. They could very easily be 1-4 without a shadow of a doubt. Because TCU, I'm saying they're going to clap TCU, but TCU could easily win that game. Nebraska is a pickup game. Colorado State, they should win. And then Oregon, we've already said. So they could go, 1-5 their first, or 1-4 their first 5 games. Chris Smith, you think 9-3, 10-2?
At worst, they go 2-3. 2-3 in the first 5. I just don't see. Nebraska always thinks they're good. Nebraska always feels like they got the next guy. They thought they had their next guy at quarterback coming into the year, and he threw for more interceptions than he did touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. But
Look,
it was just awful.
He's got a little more on his plate than I thought. It's gonna be I can't. Is it football season yet? This is gonna be fun. Look, so I think this is why people are excited for the Pac-12. Honestly, look, I think Deion is carrying the load here because of it. Because you look at the schedule and if you're thinking, okay, how's Deion gonna do, right? Well, when you start looking at the schedule, like, well, damn, that's kind of tough. It's kind of brutal. And now the respect for the Pac-12 starts to come back. If we're looking at USC playing these teams, right? Like, let's say we look at it like that. It's like, honestly, go look at Georgia's schedule. It's like, oh, Georgia's schedule's a joke. Georgia's schedule's a joke because it's Georgia. They're playing in the SEC like they played every single year. It's just, that nobody's going to beat them. So you're like, oh, it's a joke. Well, no, I mean, that's their schedule.
Yeah. Look at Colorado's schedule versus, and all of a sudden, that USC
Nebraska's out of conference. Thank you. We're so dumb.
Oh, they're in the Big Ten. We're so dumb.
We're so dumb. It's because I think the rival is so thick that we felt that they were part of it. But yeah.
They were in the Pac-12
it's right
for a
there.
while, right?
It feels right there. It feels like it's right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
we're
wow.
idiots.
Wow, good one there. To fire Todd Golden. Mike, I don't want to get started with that. Let's wait till it's I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it.
Chris Clement said FSU should have played Oregon State. I agree with that. I think that
we've talked about that time and time again. That entire matchup was an absolute joke. That was so stupid.
It was dumb.
All right, let's go on to this is Holly's piece here. Nick Saban. The man, the myth. We'll leave it at that. No, just kidding. He's been slipping. I think our boy, bro. Did you hear? Let's hold up for a second. This time out for a quick second. I wanted to talk about this and I forgot. Kirby Smart and the team visited 100 schools, 100 high schools in one day. They rounded up 3 helicopters and flew around Georgia and visited 100 schools in one day.
What?
Yeah, Steve. Look it up. Look it up,
I'm
Steve.
pulling this up. I see. At first, I thought you were lying to me. All right.
Crazy. Bro, this was 4 days after the national championship. 3 or 4 days. Billy needs to start buying some planes quick. Quick. The homeboy's not playing. He's flying around the state of Georgia in a single day. How is that possible? You got a 100-mile radius. You go hit a high school. Stay there for 20 minutes. All right, we're up, boys. You're at to the next high school in 5 minutes. You land on the football field. You go say, hey, what's going on, Bubba? Hey, man, come be a dog. I mean, you can knock out 5 in an hour. You got 3-4 coaches knocking it.
This is a real thing.
I told you. 100 schools in a day. In a day.
Georgia, and look, I'm going to quote off of Dogs HQ, so don't censor me, YouTube. Georgia recruiting is one of the most aggressive in history. They have gone 100 schools in one day.
Fact
and
check
they
me.
have tweets. They have tweets to prove it.
Fact check
Frederick High School, Gainesville High School.
I can't hear you. Hello?
Unbelievable.
Oh, there you go. So you know what this reminded me of? You know what this reminds me of? Do you remember the math little sheets we used to get in elementary school? That was like 60 years ago for you, like BC, before Christ for you, Steve. But you remember the little math sheets, right? The little columns. It was like multiplication, like 8 times 2, 8 times 4, 9 times 3, right? And you had a minute to solve as many as you possibly could, okay? Well, in that classroom, there was 3 dogs. Those 3 weren't racing the clock. They were racing each other, right? And this isn't a bold statement, but I was one of those dogs from time to time where you're just the 3 of you are always just trying to finish first. The rest of the kids are just hoping they get 80% of it done in the minute. The dogs trying to get it done, right? This is how we Florida feel. We're over here filling our problem out. We look up feeling pretty damn good. Kirby's already sitting down and eating his lunch. He finished that damn problem half of a minute ago. That's when I read that, that's how I felt. 100 high schools in one day. You see, look, Steve doesn't know what to do with this stuff. He doesn't know what to do with his hands.
This is insane.
It's wild. Wild, bro.
I pulled it up on YouTube.
Oh, S. Smooth said, what does that have to do with Saban? Well, that's a great point, S. Smooth. What I was saying is that I think Nick is trying to keep up, but Kirby on them put this man into the dirt. No. So go ahead. Saban, I feel like he's starting to lose his step a little bit, and not to take the knock on the GOAT. I'm never going to disrespect the man, but it feels like he's making some changes. He's making some changes to the coordinator position, and he's doing it in a very, Nick stylish type of way.
Saban way. Right. Yeah. So, so he's already made a move on the defensive coordinator side. He's already let his defense. Well, hold on. Again, let's be careful with our words. And look, I do want to give a shout out to Josh Pate in some of the research that him and his team has done, because some of these things are going to be things that they brought to my attention, and I can't help but regurgitate it to you guys. But so Nick Saban and the defensive coordinator there have parted ways amicably. There was no firing. There was no quitting. But the defensive coordinator from Alabama has now peacefully transitioned to the defensive coordinator at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin. Well, that leaves the offensive coordinator. And it doesn't feel like Nick Saban is very happy with the way that his offense has run under Bill O'Reilly. Well, it looks like, considering that there's been a peaceful transition on the defensive coordinator side, that it's going to be the same thing on the offensive coordinator side. And what I brought up to Sheldon earlier is we can give Nick Saban all the hell we want. But Nick Saban has brought coaches along, from whether you are a graduate assistant, Kirby Smart, all the way up to you are already a defensive coordinator, and I'll make you a head coach, and a Pruitt who went to Tennessee, and there's a million other examples. But what struck me as a little bit odd is the fact that Nick Saban has not fired a coordinator. That's it. That's the whole line. That's the whole damn line. And look, look, you can say that there's obviously been a split in the agreement, but you could even look at, Kirby. Kirby left and he went to become the head coach. Jeremy Pruitt left and became, if I'm not mistaken, the head coach at Tennessee. Lane Kiffin left and became the head coach at FIU. These guys don't leave and downgrade after coaching under Saban. And now we have another situation where he just had a peaceful transition with his defensive quarterback to another coach that is coaching at an SEC school in Lane Kiffin. Now he is the defensive coordinator. Sorry, not defensive back, but the defensive coordinator. Like, Lane Kiffin took him in with open arms. Like, why is Nick Saban's guy that he doesn't want being welcomed by your rival that
so I think,
you're
look,
going to play?
If you go look at the history of his coordinators, he kind of functions through them, but Nick Saban operates, in my opinion, like most of the fans of Alabama do. Kind of just move like the G in lasagna. They just keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, just roll tide. That's it. That's how Saban operates too. Like, they're not really loud. Kind of just keep it going because they're just like, yeah, we obviously we won. That's we're Alabama. But I don't think the defensive coordinator under Saban is damaged goods. I think he's ran his course with Saban, as has Bill O'Brien, and him just kind of shuffling this thing out is like, look, this isn't working. I gotta get some new blood, because I think that's just kind of how he functions. He's always functioned like that. It's just he moves so silently that we don't typically ever notice it, because he just does it so cleanly. And Bama fans really don't get too worried because the helm's still there, right? As long as Saban's still at the helm, ain't nobody too concerned of what's rocking behind him. I think it just, all Saban likes is like, who can I yell at the most and get the most out of? Once he's kind of went through that rinsing process of, like, you know what I mean, of who that person is, he just kind of moves on and gets another guy. He's like, look, I just need somebody that's going to listen to me, believe in me, and understand me. Once I've worked that process and that person starts to get their own little ego, it ain't going to work no more. And that's kind of how Saban works, and I respect it. I don't think he's done. I'm more so joking. It just feels like, because again, it's the timing of, like, he loses everybody, and then, or they lose, right? And they lost like 20 plus guys in the portal, and now 2 coaches are leaving. I think everything's fine. I think we should be concerned on the front end after having a number 1 recruiting class, and they're already starting 2024 hot and heavy. So,
yeah, I mean, like the funny part is about Alabama is they've lost their offensive coordinator, their defensive coordinator, a bunch of players into the portal, and there's not an Alabama fan that's the least bit concerned walking into next year.
And not to mention, they didn't lose a single recruit. They got more. They flipped more, which is even crazier, which tells you ain't none of these coaches matter anyways. The helm is what matters. Whoever sits on the throne.
Defensive side.
The throne.
Yeah, on the defensive side, you've got Kirby Smart. If you're a defensive coordinator, look at Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker is now the head coach at Michigan State, who got one of the most absurd contracts for a head coach that I've ever seen.
Wild.
But he was the defensive coordinator under Kirby. Every defensive coordinator under Kirby Smart looks good. Every defensive coordinator under Nick Saban looks good because you're not running your defense. You're running their defense. And their defense knows what they're doing.
Saban just needs somebody to talk to. Real quick, super chat from Gator versus anybody. I love your avatar. It says, Jaden Rashada has been granted his release after a deal with the collective not associated with the university where $13 million fell through per Pate Thamo, I believe, of ESPN. So it has been confirmed. Is that right? Is that what that's saying there? That he has been released? Good for him. I'm good for him.
I think both parties have to move on. Like, the kid has to move on.
It looks like Washington, and this just broke. Washington. This is RealDog.com. I don't know who this is. I just looked up Husky football. Okay, so it's their site. The Washington Huskies may be getting their 2023 quarterback after all. So they're favorite to land Jaden Rashada. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. So
good for him. It'll be interesting
him.
Until he's actually putting a pair of cleats on. Let's just call it what it is. Until he's got cleats and a helmet on his body on a football field, It's going to be interesting.
So look, this is the guys that have been here since the beginning. This is somebody that that I love thoroughly, and somebody that's kind of was the start of the of this channel. Got to be honest, kind of carried us through the dark times. Tom fucking Brady. Okay, it's Tommy time. All right, and he took a hard L this past Monday night. That was brutal to watch. It's so brutal. Just so you guys go in here, just kind of be open and honest with you. I put 25 on them before the game started. Paid out like 40 because they weren't favored. They were down 18. Like, what's fucking Tom? All right, it's fucking Tom Brady. I put another 25 down. Put another 25 down 18. Because we saw it all weekend. I was like, it's in the recipe. That it was not the case. I'm sitting $50 lighter. All right, and that leads to the question. The most hot topic year after year is, what does Tom do next? Does he retire? Is he going to the Dolphins? Is he going to the Jets? Is he going to the Niners? What's going on, Steve? What's happening? I don't think he's done. I don't think he's done.
My gosh, I don't know if he wants to move again though. I don't know if he. Look, I mean, now
that the wife's gone and the kids are out of the house, the chains are off.
I don't mean all that. I mean, Tampa when he came to Tampa, he told Tampa, if you want a championship, you're going to give me all this, and Tampa had the cap room to do it, so they gave it to him. They gave him everything he needed, from running backs to defense to any and everything he could possibly ask for. So does he move on and ask for that same thing again? There's a possibility. But again, it takes that perfect recipe of what franchise has the cap room to do what he wants, to also have like some autonomy with the coaches to say, I'm also going to do what I want from a play calling standpoint and what I want to do and what I see on the field, and not have a coach that's going to be overbearing and an offensive coordinator says, no, you're going to run me. Like, that's just that Tampa move was a perfect harmony. I find it hard to believe that you can find that harmony again.
Brian Leftwich is gone. I don't think he will put on the Bucs jersey ever again. Number one. Number two, I think we see ourselves falling into, because Monday night was not the Tom Brady that I have come to know and love. And I don't know what happened. It was sad to watch. It really was. And I think, yes, who's running the show with coaching wise is going to be a factor, because I think they didn't lack talent. They had a ton of talent surrounding him.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to find himself in the lights of Peyton Manning. And what I mean by that is when Peyton Manning played for that Bronco team that won the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning was not that dog. Okay? Peyton Manning was not the guy. But that team was phenomenal. And he was a leader. And he had experience. And he was able to get it done because it's Peyton Manning. He led a team that just needed somebody to get it done. That's why the Fins make a lot of sense, because that's a great team. That's a team that almost beat Josh Allen and the Bills with a third-string quarterback. All that you were missing, all that you were missing was Tom fucking Brady. And all things considered, like, that team is built right now from mad success with a ton of talent, with McDaniel at the helm, right? That's his last name, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not McDaniel. Daniel. No. Mike Daniel. I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about. The head coach for the Fins, absolutely.
The guy who was vaping.
Yeah, the guy I can't think of his name. I was getting mixed up. Anyways, he fits into that system very well. The Tua situation is going to have to unplay itself. We just lost our boy there, Stephen Hawley. Whatever happens with Tua, obviously, is going to play a factor, but I believe that the Dolphins make a great fit for Tom Brady to walk away with. If that doesn't happen, I see him walking away. I do believe the Niners would be a great fit. I just think the Niners have a lot of options and a lot of decision-making with Brock Purdy as well as Trey Lance, and I just don't see them going towards our boy just yet. I could be wrong, but that's kind of my thought process on that. We lost our boy Steven, guys. So we'll see. Yeah, Bruce Arians needs to come back. Brady to the Raiders. You think so? You think so, huh? We'll see. I don't think so. I think that the Fins. I think Miami has a good opportunity here to pull off Tom Brady. Let's go ahead and get this fixed here, boys, because I don't know if Steve's going to come back or not, and I don't want to look like an idiot more than I already have today. So, not quite sure what happened to our guy there, but the show goes on. The show goes on. Tom B needs to retire in progress. I think so, too. I mean, the way he looked on Monday, he just didn't look like he had that step. He looked like he was missing it. I think he'll go back and watch the film and keep it moving. So, all right, boys, make sure you guys drop a like. One last thing before we go. The Jags obviously are playing this Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs. It just feels like it's too scripted for the Jaguars to pull this off, I'm being honest. I think with the situation with the Bills and the Chiefs, if they were to both win, it's going to be a neutral site in Atlanta. It makes too much of it's a too great of a story for that not to happen. Let me go ahead and bring. Hey, big guy.
Sorry about that. I got to stop broadcasting through FM radio, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. I was like, I guess he's not coming back. I had to step in.
No, I'm here, baby. I'm here.
All right, good. Brady to the 49ers makes sense. Yes, Brady to the Niners makes sense as well, too, simply because, again, I feel like they fit that same mold as Miami with even a better coach at the helm. So, all right. Sports with Blake, what's up, baby? Welcome to the stream, big guy. We got Jags. Obviously, they're the hot, spicy topic that everybody loves talking about right now. I was just saying that I don't think it happens. I think the NFL is going to come in and, it's going to be the Jags versus the refs this Saturday. Hopefully it's not obvious. But I think the storyline of the Vikings versus the Bills, or excuse me, the Kansas City versus the Bills in Atlanta in a neutral site just is too exciting. But I think what I'm excited about is how the game ended. For those guys to stay hunkered down, there's a confidence that they found. There's a swagger that's flowing through everybody's blood right now, because I understand the Chiefs are better than the Chargers, but when you're down 28-7 with 2 quarters left to play, and you come back, you go for 2, you get it done, you kick the winning field goal, it's just a lot. All that takes is a little bit is to start to believe, and that's what's great about the NFL, because on any given Sunday, anybody can win. That's why you play the game. It's not as dramatic as college. You're never going to see a 65-7 unless Cam Newton to the Super Bowl. But it's going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be closer than what people realize. The Mahomes and the boys have kind of been riding on a high, like they're the shiz, and I'm hoping they get punched in the mouth. I think the Jags know they can win that football game. They played well against them back in the beginning, or early in the year. I believe they're 7-1 since that game. The Jaguars are, as are the Kansas City Chiefs. But it was a good game. I think it ended up being like 34-24, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a good game. What's that?
Yeah, it was a 10-point game.
But it was a good game. I feel like it was a good game. I mean, there was obviously, but again, the Jaguars at that point were still working out some kinks. Think about that. I think that was like, what week was that? That's 7-1, but halfway through the season, maybe 7 or 8 games in at that point. So we're 7 or 8 games in of Doug Peterson, right? Going up against Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid, who've been doing this for about a minute now. And that's something to be said. And now we've had 9 more weeks under their belt with some massive wins, some big comeback wins against some great teams. A lot of things have changed in that time. Trevor's starting to find his rhythm a little bit. Etienne's finding his rhythm a little bit. Ingram, Zay, Kirk, Marvin is starting to kind of pop off a little bit. I mean, I think Marvin Jones is starting to be utilized a little bit more because everyone's talking about everybody else. That Marvin's like, hey, I'm still pretty good. I can still play some ball. And that defense, everyone's roasting that defense, obviously, because they gave up 27 points. The defense did not give up 27 points.
Way worse.
Trevor gave up 27 points, okay?
In the first half alone.
Yeah, they should be thankful look, the defense is say, hey, great job. You only gave up 27 points. That's how it should be looked at because they had to start on their own damn 20 almost every play, it felt like. Now, there was a few downs where, they came down and scored. But think about it. They held them to 3 points. 3 points in the second half.
Yeah.
Second half, they gave up 27 in the first half when basically Trevor was just like, yeah, I don't want to play today. I'll see you guys at halftime. And then only 3 at halftime. I'm loving it. I'm excited. I'm fired up. I really am. I love days on Saturday. It keeps the narrative that he's undefeated on Saturday alive, which that's who doesn't love a great story when it comes to football? And that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, look, the one thing I will say is, these two teams matched up well when we weren't as well coached. We weren't as confident. I say we as the Jags. Yep. Trevor was still learning the offense. The defense, played well, in my opinion. I think we had turnover problems in that game as well. But look, if you look at the two teams and you take away what we saw in the first half of the Chargers game, we cannot duplicate that and expect to get a win at all. Even half of the turnovers that we had in that first quarter or first half will not win us that game. Play sound football on the offense. Our defense is good enough to win this game.
If they play like they have to play the second half first against Kansas City.
Yeah. That's essentially it. Look, Kansas City has given up an average of 30 points a game. 30 points is a lot of points. Our defense, believe it or not, even though if you look at statistical outcomes, it looks like our defense is not doing what it needs to do to hold Mahomes in that offense down, because it's very potent with Kelce and all the guys that they have there. But we have the rush ins and the stout middle on the line. If we can keep Mahomes in a bubble and make him have to work his way down the field, this is maybe just me living in Jacksonville and it's a pipe dream, but looking at the matchups and what we feel like we can do against their defense and what our defense matches up against them, I don't hate this. I don't hate this. I hate it being there, but I don't hate the matchup.
I think, Eckler had a great game, obviously early on, kind of fell off towards the end. What concerns me is Mahomes' legs. Herbert doesn't. I mean, there's a few times when Herbert kind of got off and going, and we weren't prepared for it. And my man burned us. Mahomes is always going to be that factor. If we can shut the run game down, which again, I don't think their running game is as stout as the Chargers. Unfortunately, Mahomes is much more dynamic than Herbert. That's going to be an issue, in my opinion. But look, I think Trevor has to get comfortable early. Again, I think having as bad as a first quarter as he did against the Chargers is going to help. I think it really is. For him having that much of a fluster, it's like, what it feels like to suck now. You know how when you're bad and you're not feeling it, you know exactly how that feels, but you also know that you can turn it on and get locked in and dialed in. I mean, you felt both extremes in one game, which is huge, especially the timing of it all. Again, you're going up against a Super Bowl champion. You're going up against a lot of talent, a lot of experience in Kansas City, but the swagger and the confidence that's going through these guys' veins right now, it speaks volumes, and I think Dougie P is I don't think he's underrated. I think everybody knows the greatness that he's able to get done. I saw a clip from Trevor where I guess they played a video earlier in the spring ball where their whole like mantra is good. Good. There's a video. It's like anything that happens, it's like good. Good. No, it's good. Not good. So it's a constant positive mindset, right? Like no matter what happens, just say good. And he goes, after I think like the third or fourth pick, Trevor said, I don't remember who it was, but one of the offensive linemen came by, he goes, good. He goes, bro, too soon, bro. And like, again, it just kind of shows where the mindset of these guys are. Like, they're like, look, it's good. Hey, keep moving, baby. Keep chucking. And like, sometimes that's all it takes. That's all you need is that right mindset. So I'm fired up for the game. I haven't felt that way that I felt Saturday night in a very long time. I was sick. My heart was racing. It's just when you've been watching the Jaguars your entire life and you've seen them fall short time and time again, and it felt like that was going to happen again. And when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh shit! I'm telling you, bro, we broke the curse. The Miles Jack wasn't down curse has been broken. Josh Allen broke it.
We talked about it. We talked about it. Like the Miles Jack not down. Obviously, just not being able to beat the Tennessee Titans for 3 straight games in I want to say it was 95. And then they came, the Titans came up, 1 inch short of being able to win against the greatest show on turf. But look, the one thing I will say about Trevor Lawrence is he's a different player, and he has a different mindset, and he has better leadership from 1 year to the next. And the coaching has been, if you can't point to that, I don't know what you point to. Right. I mean, we had a rookie quarterback who could have been, his mindset could have just been completely ruined for his career had he had been here for another year.
Yeah, I talked about that.
With the coach that he had. Yeah,
I talked about that, I think, on Monday of like last year, you and I were talking was like, is he going to pull Jalen Ramsey? Like, I want out of here. But I feel like we've had a complete 180 of like, no, like it's exciting because he's now in the conversation.
They're all bought in.
Yeah, he's now in the conversation again of like, yeah, he is the guy. Like the Jags made the right move. And what's exciting is next year only looks better because the team's still going to be there. We're in the lottery for DeAndre Hopkins. It's exciting right now in Duval. And
Calvin Ridley.
I keep forgetting about Calvin Ridley because he's already there. So
do I. He's already on the roster. He's just suspended. And look, I'll go back real fast. And just one thing I do want to say about Trevor. And I watched a bunch of the post game interviews, and there was one thing that he said that kind of resonated with me is when you are a football team that is down 27-0, you have to look at the guys on the offense and defensive side of the ball and say there is no 27-point play. The only way we're going to win this game is one play at a time, and that means that the offense will have to do it and the defense will have to do it. It doesn't matter what happened until now. No one play will fix it.
Yeah,
we just ball our asses out.
I told, because look, how I look at it, and I never really count anybody out because how I look at it is like, okay, the Chargers scored 27 unanswered. So can the Jaguars. Like, it doesn't feel like that right now, but you get a reset. So when they were driving into the second half, I was like, if they score, it's a ball game. Because now what happens is, okay, you break it up into 2 quarters. How do we figure this? Okay, I come out, we get a quick stop, and I score. And then you have to get another stop or field goal, and you score, which is exactly what happened. Okay, now it's 21-30. So we're down by 9 with the whole quarter left. At that point, it doesn't matter. It's a ball game again. Because if you would have said, hey, it's going to be 10-0 going into the fourth quarter, like, oh, hell yeah, what's up? So, and it no longer is 27-0. We're in pissing distance. And that's exactly what happened.
You forget about the entire debacle of the first half.
Nobody remembers it anymore. And so that's look. If you think about it like that, it's like, well, we can get 14 points in a quick stop. 2 stops and 14 points. That's nothing. And that's exactly
football.
That's how crazy it is. That's how crazy it is. Hold on. thought I got a message. Real quick, Papa Stokes said, Sheldon, I'm a huge Giants fan. Remember the 2007 Super Bowl winning year? Yeah, unfortunately. We were the lowest tier wild card. Look, I got to be honest, dude. I didn't think the Giants had a damn chance. I was not a believer in Daniel Jones. Saquon, I am. Daniel Jones, I was not. Hey, Daniel Jones, that dog in him, bro.
Daniel Jones.
The quarterback for the Giants.
In 2007?
No, now, this year, like right now.
Oh, what the hell are you talking about?
I was kind of shocked when I saw that. I was like, damn, buddy's balling out. So it was exciting to see him do pretty well. I mean, I was kind of hoping Kirk Cousins, because I've been kind of preaching about Kirk, and then he kind of dropped the ball there. But I would love to see. Look, I don't hate the Giants. I like Saquon, I think, and I like Daniel Jones. But they got nothing to do with who are they playing. What's going on in the NFC?
Oh gosh,
they playing the Eagles. Good. We got the Cowboys and the Niners, I think, and then the Eagles and the Eagles and the Giants. Damn, two hella matchups, bro. Two hella matchups.
That NFC East.
3 of them, bro. What a comeback.
Yeah, see, I don't want nothing to do with the Eagles, Giants, and Dallas all in one division. Yeah. No, thank you.
All right, well, boys, this matchup isn't horrible, and who knows? It's football. Literally, one bad cut can change everything. Win, lose, or draw. It's Duval. Let's go. 15-year run.
It was always the Jags, baby. It was always the Jags.
It was always the fucking Jags, baby. Bears in the Super Bowl next year? I don't think so, Molly God. Wishing for a Jags Bengals AFC. That's gonna be tough, man. I'm a big Joey B fan, but Jags all the way. Vikings defense lost the game, not Kirk. I mean, Kirk throwing it to 3-yard pass on 4th and 8. But yes, if you let Daniel Jones kind of walk all over you like that, that's surprising.
Yeah.
69 likes. Honestly, guys, I was going to ask for more, but I'm not mad about that. I'll take it. Guys, great show as always. I think we pissed a few people off over the course of the day, but hopefully we'll bounce back. We'll get back at it again, and we live to see another day. Appreciate you guys as always coming in here, hanging out with us, chit-chatting in the chat, yelling at us, giving us your thoughts and takes on everything. But until next time, boys and girls, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Holly.
Like and subscribe, boys. See ya.
Don't wanna sleep in, 'cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that